welcome to another video. This is Wild Unfiltered. Why the name? Because Wild is my name, and Unfiltered because this is a safe space for us to talk about anything and everything that we want to. So everybody welcome. So yeah, this is just a quick fun video of the bags I won't be buying and a little bit about why. So just to mention, this I think is a tag video of the bags I won't be buying. And I'll mention down below, I don't know who started the tag, but I'm sure that Amelia did this. So I'll mention everybody that I can find and put them in the description box below. Just a bit of fun, not trying to offend anybody. If I mention any bags that all you guys love, that's wonderful. That's what makes us all different. And I'm sure there's loads of bags that I've got that maybe you wouldn't choose. So yeah, let's get going. So number one, the first bag that I don't think I'll be buying is the Dior D-Light. Now, when the D-Light first came out, I remember seeing photos of it and being really interested. And I don't know if you've seen any more of my videos, but you will see that there's a slight theme of grey in my collection, and I just love a grey bag. And I saw the D-Light had come out in, and I say if I can find a picture of it, I'll put it up here. And it came out in quite a lightish mid-grey, and obviously the D-Light is in the fabric, so it's the Lady Dior style but in the fabric, and I could not wait to see it. I was thinking, this is my absolute, it's going to be one of my ideal bags. And I went to see it. I went to see Susie in Manchester, in Dior in Selfridges, and I was so underwhelmed with it when I saw it in the flesh. I was a little bit like, oh, and I can't really describe what it was. It was as if, I don't know the shape of it. I just don't know if the fabric suits the style, and it lost the luxury element then of the Lady Dior. And I thought that would be great because it'd make it a little bit more casual looking, but I just wasn't sure. Now for me, maybe if they did that D-Light but in the blue oblique, I think that's something I might be interested in. I love blue oblique, and I still haven't, I've got the large book tote in blue oblique, and that's the only one I've got, and I'm still waiting for something to come out that like a nice little crossbody bag, or anyway, that's a whole other story. But yeah, the D-Light for me, I just wasn't sure. So I'm gonna say that unless they come out with maybe the blue oblique or something different, I can't see me buying it. I'll find a bit of footage as well, because when I went to London and met Laurent and Joe, and I'll link their channels up above as well, I was very, very lucky, fortunate to be invited by Lorna to come along to Dior on Bond Street. And she was collecting her, I think is it called a made to order? Anyway, her absolutely stunning, beautiful Lady Dior. And yeah, I'll find her video, because I'm sure she's done a video introducing that bag, so I'll link that up here as well. But on that day, it was the day that they were launching their new collection. So after Lorna picked up her bag, we got to see some of the absolutely new beautiful things coming out. And yes, as I say, I'll put it up here if I can find it, but there was an absolutely beautiful fabric D-Light that actually was very beautiful, but it had birds on it, and the whole other story, but I don't really like birds. So I would never have bought that, but it was very beautiful. And the colours in it and the craftsmanship, and so in a way, you know, never say never, but I can't see me buying that. So that's number one. So number two, the second bag I won't be buying is a bucket bag. Now, I think all of the fashion houses will have a bucket bag. I'll put some pictures up of the types of ones that I mean. One that springs to mind is the is the Louis Vuitton. I think it's called the Noe and the Neo Noe. And I think they're lovely looking bags, but that style is just, it's just not for me. I think as a crossbody, they're quite clunky. It's like one just big black hole. And even though I quite like a tote bag and I quite like a slouchy bag sometimes, I don't know, there's something about when it's a smaller bag. I like a top handle or a crossbody that's comfortable, and yeah, they've just never appealed to me. So I can't ever honestly see myself investing in anything that's like a bucket bag. I think Fendi have it, is it the Montresor bag? I'm sure all the fashion houses have them. It's just not something that appeals. I think even when they've got a contrast strap or other details to them, they're still just not for me. So that in general is really a category that that I can't ever see myself buying. I think Chanel have like a leather version. Obviously they'll do a leather bucket bag version. No, just not for me. So that's the second bag or category of bags that I won't be buying. The third bag that I won't be buying, now this may be, I know this might be slightly controversial because I know lots of people love this bag, but it is the Prada, I think it's a reissue bag, but in the full crystal. I put some pictures up here of, I think it is the reissue. Or is it the re-edition? Anyway, whatever it's called. And it's not because I don't like a Prada bag per se, it's just the crystals. I don't really like a lot of bling. I have no idea how I would style it. I can see an all black outfit with this crystal bag would look stunning. And I do have some Manolos that have the hangieses that have the crystals on the front, and I can see that all working together, but it's not me. I'm a lot more understated than that. So yeah, I just can't. For me, it'd be very evening-y, and even then, I just can't see myself with a full crystal bag, even for an evening. And definitely through the day, I can't see how that would work for me and my wardrobe and my lifestyle. So, and I think the size of bag, the whole thing about it, to be honest, is, yeah, it's just not for me. So that's the third one. The fourth bag that I won't be buying is the Louis Vuitton. Now, I think it's called the Dauphine bag. And again, I'll put a photograph up here. Now, I don't know if this is literally my age and looking back over the generations, but to me it just feels very traditional and old-fashioned, shall we say. And I think that's maybe because I remember that sort of style of bag back in the day that my mum would probably have worn, or my grandma maybe would have worn. And so for me it feels dated. But I'm sure there's so many people, much younger people now, who maybe don't remember that style of bag the first time round, and so for them it probably looks and feels a little bit fresh. But for me, it's just not. It just doesn't appeal to me at all. And the other thing that I've realised I don't like so much, I love Louis Vuitton, and I love. I've just done a video all around all the things I'm loving in Louis Vuitton. And I'll link that video up here. And I do talk about the trunks, and some of the trunks that have the monogram, and again, if I can find some photos, they have the trim of them, the leather trim on the full monogram ones is like a brown stitched edging in leather. And I believe that the Dauphine bag is sort of based on that type of thing as well. And it's something, I just don't really like the brown leather with the monogram. I like the vachetta leather, or I like black leather. So I've just picked up the Petite Mal, which is in the monogram. And that's got the black leather edging, and I love that. But I think in the trunks, the ones I've seen, the really small trunks, when it's a mix of monogram and reverse monogram, that's when you get the black leather edging. I might be completely wrong. They're the ones I've seen. So I haven't seen another version, and it may be that they are available, but every time I've looked at them, it's been that way around. And yeah, I'm just a lot more drawn to either vachetta leather or black leather, not so much the brown leather. So I think that puts me off the Dauphine bag as well. So all in all, I just think there's other bags in Louis Vuitton that are so much nicer or more classic or edgier. That just feels a little bit dated to me. So that's definitely one that I won't be investing in. So the next bag that I won't be investing in is, and I think this is called, it's a Saint Laurent bag, and I think it's the Sunset bag. And to be honest, I'm not overly keen on any of the Saint Laurent bags, and I'm sorry if that's controversial, but yeah, the Sunset bag, just going back to the Sunset bag, the structure of it, it feels very evening. And again, I think this might go back to the age that I am, and remembering back in the day, a lot of people had the more structured bags for evening. And so it feels, I wouldn't say it feels dated, but it's so, yeah, I think it is the structure of it. It's, I don't mind some structure in a bag, but I think that's just a step too far for me. So yeah, I can't see me ever wanting to invest in the YSL or the Saint Laurent Sunset bag. So the next bag that I won't be buying is actually sort of two in one, and it's two categories in one, and it's the luxury backpack or the luxury bum bag or fanny pack. Now, if you saw my previous video about Louis Vuitton, and I did tell a little bit of a backstory about my very first ever Louis Vuitton bag and how Andrew surprised me with it one year when we had no money. He secretly went down to London, because London was the only place you could buy Louis Vuitton then. There wasn't such thing as the internet, so there definitely wasn't anything online. And yeah, he went to surprise me and bought me a bag, and it was a backpack. And I said in that how ungrateful, how disappointed I was, because it would have been pretty much the last bag in the store that I would have chosen. I just don't like backpacks. They're too casual. I don't like how they sit actually on your back for security reasons. Yeah, they're just not for me. I've never been a fan. So if ever I would need a rucksack or a backpack for any occasion, maybe going walking, I have a proper walking rucksack for those purposes, and I would never buy a luxury version of it. It's a bit like we call it the bum bag, but it might be called the fanny pack. I used one of those when we had a dog. I use that for dog walking a lot, and I still use it now for walking because it's just handy. But mine's a cheap and cheerful black nylon zipped, very, very comfortable, adjustable. It was probably about less than £10. And yeah, I use that a lot, and I would never buy like a luxury version of it, because the times I would use it, I wouldn't want to take a luxury bag with me just for walking or hiking, or the girls borrow it to go to festivals. There's no way you want to take a luxury anything anywhere like that. So, and the same thing goes for me with the backpack. So yeah, this sort of covers any of the backpacks. I haven't seen any yet that will change my mind. So like the Palm Springs Mini and PM and MM, and yeah, I just don't see the point of them for me and my lifestyle. Chanel, they've done 2 or 3, I think, different types of backpack. They do the Gabrielle style one, which is more of a drawstring. Again, it just would not appeal to me. Fendi, Prada, I'm sure they all do them. I think Gucci do one. None of them have ever appealed to me. So I am pretty sure that is one, or shall we say two categories, because it's the backpack and the bum bag type scenario, being in a luxury version of those, I just wouldn't invest in. I would rather save my money and put it towards more of a top handle bag or a tote bag or a crossbody bag. They're where my absolute loves are. And the next bag that I won't be buying is, and again, this might sound controversial, but it's not if you sort of follow me. It's the Fendi, I think it's called the Sunshine Tote. And again, I'll put a photo up here. Now, the reason I won't be buying this is not the reason you think. It's actually a very stunning bag. And I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautifully made. I think the quality, the style, there's lots of different ones. There's one that's like, it looks like a real buttery, beautiful leather with, I think the resin handles, but they're like tortoiseshell handles. There's raffia versions, there's colourful versions, there's all sorts of different ones. But I quite like the leather ones. And the only reason that I won't be buying that bag is because I already have too many, if you like, of that type of bag already in my collection, that I'd already bought. I'm not sure how long this bag's been out, but for me it feels quite new. So maybe a year or so. I don't think it's been in production for a long time, unless I've just been living under a rock or something. So I have two Dior book totes in different sizes. I have a Chanel Deauville in the large size, and I also have a Neverfull, which is my everyday, use it to death. I think Amelia is exactly the same on this with the Neverfull. So the Neverfull has to be my most used bag across the board. And yeah, so I just don't have the need for another large tote bag. Now, would I get it if I was starting a collection again? I would definitely go and look at it. Would I get it if I was starting my collection again? Well, I would definitely go and look at it, as it really appeals to me. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful bag. So maybe that's a whole video in itself. If I was doing my whole collection again from scratch, what would I now choose? Because once you've got certain things in your collection, I'm not going to buy 30 different tote bags. And I'm not really one for buying and selling. I just don't really do that. So yeah, in hindsight, if I held off on one of the others, maybe I would buy that one. But for me, where I am with my collection right now, I love the bags I have. None of them, the ones I've just mentioned, the large tote bags, none of them are ones that I would want to sell. So yeah, it's a bit like the on the go, the Louis Vuitton on the go. If I didn't have the Neverfull, I would maybe look at that. It looks like an amazing bag, and it's got obviously the top handle and the longer straps, and it's more boxy looking, which I quite like, because that's again like the Fendi. I don't mind that style and that look. But again, I don't think I would buy an on the go, because I've got a Neverfull and I've got two book totes, and they're quite boxy and square, and so that is the reason that I wouldn't be buying the Fendi Sunshine Tote. But that is one of those, never say never. Yeah, so that was just a bit of fun, and I'd love to know if any of you guys have any of those bags that I've mentioned, and what your thoughts are on them now you actually own them. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Are there any other bags that you would add to the list? Yeah, so comment below, and yeah, that's the end of the video, and I'll see you in another one.